This week I learned don't buy computer monitors that are too big for your desk. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. Yes, new setup here, and that's just because, guys, I did upgrade my computer monitors and I got the 32-inch screens. And the thing is, the way my desk is set up, they got these brackets down low. And I can't push them all the way back to where they're supposed to be, so it kind of took away my camera space. So I had to kind of move some things around. So forgive me while I do this work in progress. As always, I don't know how the lighting's going to look. It can look absolutely terrible. I probably look like The Walking Dead right now, but you know what? That's not much different from every other day. But guys, weekly update here. Coming up on the end of May, and it's been an exciting month for sure on the channel. Some things I've kicked off my bucket list, and some things I've kicked off my reading bucket list. So we're going to kind of talk about those now. Let's talk about that with what am I reading, guys? Yes, I did finish Lonesome Dove. And yes, what I said yesterday, I just want to kind of repeat it here. This is one of the best books I've ever read. And that's not recency bias. That's not, just something that I'm going through right now. It's not hyperbole. This is easily one of the best books I've ever read. It is the ultimate character study that I have ever come across in my life. It is such a good story. And it's easy to see, guys, why people carry on about this book. Because myself, never thought I'd enjoy a Western. This is very, very good. I think that the thing that's magical about it is I don't feel like you have to know anything about horses. You don't have to know anything about Texas through Montana. You don't have to know anything at all about the Western life or American westward expansion, anything about that, to really get invested in these characters, go on that long journey with them, and become so attached to them that you're going to be so devastated and distraught and overjoyed and happy and sad. You're going to go through the full range of emotions reading this book, guys. It's simply incredible. I really don't know what else I can say about it that I haven't already said. There's going to be lots of stuff that I'm going to be saying about it here on the channel here soon. I do plan to review the book, give it a standard review, and then I'm going to get my own little trail ride together, and we're going to be doing a spoiler talk for it. That's going to be Brian Lee Durfee, who's one of the people who really was instrumental in me pushing this book up higher on my to-do list. I'm going to have Madison, my partner in crime. She read it earlier this year, read it last year, and says it's like the most S-tier book she's ever read. And then, of course, A.R. Witham, who I believe this is his second favorite book of all time. And we're going to talk spoilers about everything about what makes this book so damn special. And there's so much to say. The biggest question I've got now is, are you going to read the sequel and the prequel books? I think I'm more interested in the prequels because I would really be interested in seeing, some of the younger versions of these characters, and also some of the characters that didn't make it. I'd like them to still be there. So I think going back and reading the prequels, seeing what happened, during the war and things like that, I think would be real interesting. Seeing Gus and Cole and Jake in the Texas Rangers, I think that stuff would be really, really good. Now, I don't know if that's what the prequels are. I assume that's what they are, but it could be a lot of fun. But guys, yes, absolutely amazing book. All the stars. If I'm giving it a rating, all of them. It's easily a top 10 book all time for me. That's not even a question. It really is just that good, guys. And I think everyone will enjoy it. And you have such high expectations for a book like that. But when it actually exceeds those, when you already have those super high expectations, you know you're reading something quite special. So I loved it. I'm not going to say it's a book for everyone, because I have seen some people be like, I never understand the hype about it. But I get it. I get it if it isn't your thing. For me, it just had amazing characters, and I loved to hate every character in the book. I wasn't indifferent about any of them. I never got to a chapter and was like, oh, God, I don't want to read about this character. I wanted to hang out with these characters forever. It's so good, guys. And just one of the longest books I've ever read, but it's like it could have been another 1,000 pages, and I'd have been there for it. It really was just that special. Also, guys, reading that at the same time, which I'll be honest, Lonesome Dove is a pretty dark book. It really is. I said there's a lot of hope and optimism in there, and a thing about the human experience. But obviously, at that time period in America, it was hard to stay alive in those elements. And so it was a very dark book in that regard. And it's kind of funny that reading that at the same time as this, I didn't go into a depression this week. So I did finish up reading this. We did the Red Rising reread on the channel. This was obviously the last one. Took me a little bit longer because I don't know, of all the Red Rising books, I feel like this is the only one you can't binge. It really, to me, you do have to take small bites. Now, the second half does fly a lot faster. And that's not to say the book's slow. it's so grim and bleak, and you'll feel like you need to go take a shower a lot. But I'll be reviewing this here relatively soon. Me and Howler Pod, we're going to be getting together sometime in June to do the spoiler talk for this. But I'm excited to do it because there is a lot to unpack with it. That'll probably be our longest spoiler talk yet, just because so much does happen in that book, guys. But yeah, I've enjoyed this reread immensely. I picked up so many things that I didn't know I was looking for the first time. And I think that's what you really appreciate out of a reread, is seeing those characters again and going back to, the originals and seeing how young and innocent and naive all these characters were, knowing what jaded shells of their former selves they are when you get to these sequel books. But yeah, such great stuff. And I'm so glad that I did commit to doing that reread. Even though, guys, I am stopping the rereads. That isn't like an official announcement or whatever. I looked at my schedule, guys. I like to plan really far ahead. I think I'm done with the rereads for a while. Even Stephen King, I've got so much stuff I want to read. I mean, so much. Now I'm really getting interested in a lot of self-pub and stuff. There's so many things I want to read, and I feel like I'm wasting so much of my free time doing a lot of rereads and stuff. And then you look at, I've got this schedule of Realm of the Elderlings and Expanse, one per month, until the end of the year. And I'm like, already there's half my month right there every single month. So I'm trying to squeeze in everything else. I've already had to knock off a couple of series that I had planned to start this year. One of those ones that was in my permanent ink actually had to fall off, unless, things might pick up, you never know. But besides the rereads things, I already committed to doing Gone with the Wind with a group of people. That'll be a reread. But other than that, guys, I think I'm done with the reread thing for a good while. Probably at least the rest of this year. I don't know. I might need a break, and I might throw a Stephen King in there just to continue with Into the Multiverse. But as of right now, I'm going to be focusing on new books. I'm sorry for the derail there, but I did actually start reading something else. Started reading Of Darkness and Light. That's book number 2 in the Bound and the Broken. One of those series that I said, is one of the new self-pubs that I wanted to read. Continues to be really, really good, guys. I think the people who had the complaints about the first one felt like a mashup of several books you'd read already, I don't think you're going to get that feeling here. Much like a Wheel of Time or Shannara, it does feel like it kind of finds its own path in book number 2 here, and I'm having a great time. I'd say about 58, 60, but I think my Kindle said I was 60% this morning. Just had some crazy action scenes. It's just he writes action in a way, guys, it's just so epic. And I know that this sounds like a word that we overuse so much, but oh my God, this is the very definition of epic fantasy with some of the stuff that is going on. It's like the kind of thing you think about if you're adapting this and you're reading it, like there's no way you can get this on film. There's just no way. It's unfilmable. It's just so amazing. So I'm having a great time with these characters. He's introduced a lot of them in this one. So you do want to make sure you got your Excel spreadsheet open, because you will be getting introduced to a lot of new characters in book number 2. And I think you probably have about a good 7 or 8 different parties in this book right now that they're kind of hopping around between. So quite ambitious. He really did take off in the second book with changing some things up and getting you invested in different characters, different regions, different lands. And he's even doing some things with, characters that you might have thought were just straight mustache-twirling villains in the first book. He's actually given them some layers now, and you're seeing them in a different light. And you're like, huh. So, well, you might have done something that was maybe a little unforgivable in that first book, but I don't know. I'm enjoying reading those chapters right now. And yeah, it's really great. I'm glad I decided to pick that series up. I'll be talking more of the Bound and the Broken here very, very soon. As for what am I going to read, guys, obviously I'm going to work on finishing Of Darkness and Light this week. And then, guys, we'll be headed into the new month. You know what that means. It's time to return to the realm with Dragon Keeper. Now, I think Rain Wilds, I don't have to tell you the warning labels that have come along with this series. This has very much been the Crossroads of Twilight warning that I got when I started reading Wheel of Time, as everyone's like, yeah, it's such an amazing, amazing series. Watch out for those first 2 books in Rain Wild. They're pretty rough. And I said for Robin Hood book, that's pretty short. I mean, still 500 pages, but for a Robin Hood book, compared to those chonkers I've been reading since Assassin's Quest, that seems like a nice, almost palate cleanser when it comes to Robin Hobb. So I'm going into it with my expectations really, really low. And I did that with Crossroads of Twilight, and it worked, where I was like, Crossroads of Twilight, it's kind of lame, but, I thought Path of Daggers was worse. So it's one of those things where I feel like, hey, the last series was a lot of people telling me, no, that's going to be your favorite book in the series, and it really wasn't. So who knows? Maybe this will surprise me. I hope for the best, expect the worst. It's always the way to go with these things. But I'm excited to get back in there and so I can talk to Philip. I think we're going to get together another panel of the Elderlings and talk about Tawny Man sometime in June. I mean, we were all just, everybody was traveling, having vacations and stuff in May, and everybody was just out of town. Couldn't get us all on the same page, and I said, hey, where's the fire? Let's just wait until we can all get together, and we'll do that. That should probably cover most of my week. You know what? Actually, after I finish with Darkness and Light, I'm thinking about if I've got an extra day in the month before I start that, I might read The Giver by Lois Lowry, because I know that's my wife says that's like a one sitting read, that you'll be able to knock it out as fast as I did Outsiders. I think it's only like 200 pages, so she said I probably should be able to knock that one out pretty quick. So I might actually fit that one in before I start Dragon Keeper, just kind of cleanse the palate a little bit before I dive back into the realm. And I know that I was going to do The Expanse right afterwards, guys, but I'm just too damn excited about this. So I'm thinking I might read this and Dragon Keeper like the same time. I do that sometimes. I'll do a balancing act just because I'm so excited about it. So many people are talking about it. And I'm going to be talking to James Islington in July. So I'll make sure I get this taken care of and have time to actually process it before I talk to him. Because, it's very, very exciting things. I've heard about it. Lots of people are saying it's very, very much Red Rising-ish. And that's something that's very awesome to me. Got a lot of the Roman influence in there as well. And I love Lycanius, so I'm expecting really, really great things. So, the next week, plus, it's kind of planned out for me of Darkness and Light, The Giver, maybe start Will the Many, start Dragon Keeper. We shall see. Options are on the table, but that's about all I've got planned to do. How about this week on the channel, guys? Let's start things off by talking about my June 2023 TBR. Now, what I always joke about is that people are more excited to hear about what I'm going to read than what I actually have read. And with that one, I think it's just fun because even though I know I just screwed it right now, I just said, I know I was going to read The Expanse first, is where I said, and that is like I like to put those in the order that I plan to read them. I just got too excited about the Will of the Many, guys. That's why I moved it up. I don't want to read, a long Expanse book before that, because I feel like if I do that, I'm going to just kind of be, I'll be reading The Expanse, and I'll be kind of like looking this way the whole time at that other book. And I feel like I would be doing that just because it is a new release that I'm very excited about, and I do want to get to it. So I should have ordered it differently. I just thought maybe after all this epic fantasy, maybe I might want to cleanse the palate a little bit with some sci-fi, but no, clearly not. I want to get back into seeing what Islington is doing. So June 2023 TBR, that is out for everything I plan to read this month. Is going to be another really busy month, I think. But hey, this is the business that we have chosen. I'm good with it. I did a Why You Should Read, and this one was on maybe my favorite non-fantasy contemporary author today, Blake Crouch. Now, I think Blake Crouch is just an amazing, amazing writer because a lot of people think he's just a techno sci-fi thriller kind of guy, but he's got so many different genres now that I'm going backwards in his bibliography here and seeing that there's just so many different things that this guy writes about. And I just think he's the perfect author for people who are reading the big epic fantasy books and you need a quick little break, because his books are, 350 to 500 pages. They go super duper quick. And I've said, to me, this is one of the biggest compliments I can give is saying that he is the next Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton's my second favorite author ever, So this guy is like Crichton. He's presenting some of those big ideas, keeps you on the edge of your seat, asks those hard questions like, yeah, we might be able to do this, but should we be doing this? These things are really good. And he does it not in a preachy way. That's what I like about it, because lots of sci-fi will present ideas and tell you why you're bad for doing this or that. I don't feel like he ever does that. He just points at, like I said, like a Jurassic Park. Yeah, sure, we might have the technology to do this, but should we? Should we play God? That doesn't seem like the right move for the evolutionary ladder, right? So I think he's a great author that anyone's going to enjoy. I think anyone will find something by Blake Crouch that they like because he's wrote so many different genres here. Let me get a sip. I get on a tangent, guys, and I just can't stop. I almost spilled it all over myself. How about that? Hey, you like this mug? Elliot gave me this mug. Thank you, Elliot. You are so awesome. That mug is so cool, isn't it? Yeah, I love it. Anyhow, distractions. So I had something really big on the channel this week. You might have caught that. And that was that I got to finally to talk about Red Rising with Pierce Brown. Now, Pierce Brown, I met him in 2019 at a book signing for Dark Age. And it was really funny because the channel had just started then. I had like 200 subscribers. And while we were chatting, we talked about 10 minutes, held up the line a little bit because we started talking about Dune. And I said, hey, I've just started this thing called a BookTube channel. And he's like, yeah, I've heard of those, because it's blew up a lot over the last few years, but it still was, relatively small. At least it felt like it. Not that many people knew about it outside of the big ones in 2019. And so I started thinking about a BookTube channel would you ever consider coming on and chatting with me, since I'm holding up your line? He said, absolutely, absolutely, just get in touch with me. And here we are, 2023, it finally happened. Now, if you don't know, when Pierce is writing, he goes dark on social media. He doesn't do any appearances, anything like that. So as soon as he got back on Twitter, he did message me and say, I owe you an interview, please. Let's go ahead and get this rolling here. So we finally did do that. Before we started, he said he was actually writing, so if he could keep it just to an hour, that he would really appreciate that. And I'm like, I don't want to delay your writing, of course not. So we actually went an hour, and I was ending it, and he was like, no, he was having such a good time. He said, let's go 15 more minutes, and I do appreciate that he was having a great time, because he said, we could probably talk for another, and we did. I'm gonna go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. After we did end the stream, we did talk for a while afterwards. So Red God's gonna be delayed on my fault, guys, because I talked to him for longer after that. But such an awesome guy, such an awesome, genuine guy. And I think a lot of people now are seeing what I meant when I said I went to that book signing of, I really like his books. And after I met him and talked to him and engaged with him, saw how he was with his readers, I was like, holy shit, I am like a huge fan of this guy now. And I think a lot of people said that like holy crap, I think I just like fell in love with how genuine this guy is. It doesn't hurt apparently that he's very good looking. I mean, I think one person called him Sexy Jesus on the stream, so there's that. But he's just such an awesome guy. And I'm glad that he finally did decide to come on the channel and talk to me. Feels like I've been pestering him about it for years now, and I'm glad that it finally happened. And it didn't seem like he was under duress to come on and do that. I was the first person, once he's doing this rollout, to come out and to have a discussion with. And he said he broke his own rule. He doesn't really do this while he's writing. So I appreciate him doing that. It really did mean a ton to me. And I'm glad you guys did hang out and watch. Yes, there are some spoilers. A lot of people in there have been like, I didn't know there was going to be. What I told him before I started, I said, look, I still want people to read these books. I'm fine not talking about spoilers. But with an author that's had as much success as you, I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't talk about. So I think it was pretty vague when it came to the sequel books. He let some stuff fly about the original 3, but there was some stuff towards the end. We just kind of started letting stuff fly out, and it just happens that way. Again, I'm never going to tell an author of his prestige what he can and can't talk about, and it's live, so I can't just like edit that out for you. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. But so you've been warned. You've been warned. I feel like a lot of that stuff out of context, it really isn't going to matter to you very much. But some things like with the original trilogy, like we talk about the ending of Golden Sun, and he talks about what he did at the ending of Golden Sun. So if you haven't read Golden Sun, I don't know if you'd be really interested in watching that interview if you haven't read them yet. I don't know. I don't know how people do about that. I mean, do you like listening to interviews with authors that you haven't read anything by? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if I'm trying to get convinced. I don't know. That's weird. Oh, let me know down below. I already talked about that. I've got James Allington coming up in July. I've got June 6th. I've got Ryan Cahill, the author of Bound and the Broken. He's going to be my next interview with the author. And then later in June, I think June 22nd, 26th, I can't remember exactly. I'll let you know when it gets closer. I'll be talking to Mike Shackle. That is the author of The Last War trilogy, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago. And I can't wait to speak to all three of those gentlemen because they are great writers. They are really awesome humans. And I just can't wait to pick their brain, see where that discussion goes. So I had a lot of authors on the channel recently, and I love doing that. I love getting to talk to authors and just kind of picking their brain, seeing what their writing process is, and also just kind of shooting the shit with them about stuff outside of books and just kind of seeing what kind of people they are. Because, sometimes it's fun when you're doing a professional interview and you get to talk about your favorite Star Wars movie or something. At least I think so. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had anyone on the channel as a guest where they've ever felt like they weren't having a good time. That's kind of the angle I go for in interviewing. I wouldn't say I'm a great interviewer, but I like them to feel comfortable. I just want them to feel like they're just having a chat with, their pal at the coffee house. Like I try to do with everything on this channel. Now, it wasn't on this channel, but I did talk with Andrew over at Andrew's Wizardly Reads on his rambling episodes. And we ramble? We talked about all kinds of stuff. I mean, I would say 20% of that episode was about books. I think we talked about not being able to handle hangovers at this age. We talked about food. We talked about barbecue. Talked about kids. Talked about all kinds of weird stuff. But it's really awesome that Andrew asked me to come on the channel. Andrew, genuinely one of the nicest guys in this community. And he's welcoming to everybody. And I'm glad he invited me on the channel. It was a ton of fun. He caught me during the middle of a camera mix-up, so it looks like I'm broadcasting from a cave, but it's not the first time that's happened on this channel. But thank you, Andrew, so much for having me on the channel. I had a great time, and I know we could have talked a lot longer if we had wanted to. How about some next week plans, guys? There are some things coming down. I think I'm going to try to get a review of Blood and Fire and The Fall by Ryan Cahill out. Now, the reason I want to do both of those together is because the question I'm getting all the time now is, well, which one should I read first, A Blood and Fire or The Fall? And I tell them it doesn't matter, but they don't ever listen. They still want to know an answer. So I'm going to kind of explain that while I do my regular review for A Blood and Fire. Now, guys, it is a holiday weekend. I don't know when that's going to happen or even if, but that is kind of on the docket for right now. I'll be wrapping up the month of May, talking about my book of the month. If you paid attention at the beginning of this episode, I'm pretty sure you'll know what it's going to be. But if you don't watch the weekly updates, you don't know that I'm saying this right now. And, you won't know what that book of the month is going to be. And then I've got a new talk about nothing, guys, on Tuesday night. I'll be inviting over Kayla from Kay's Hidden Shelf to talk a little about nothing. I think she's such a sweet and genuine person. I love her channel. It's super positive. There's so many booktube channels out there where they love the rant videos and things like that. I prefer the ones that are really, really positive, and Kayla is one of the most positive out there. But I got to know her a little bit while we were doing that readathon over on Keymark, and I think that she's a really, really nice soul. And I love to have those conversations with those types of people on the channel. So I can't wait to talk to her next week. Tuesday night, guys, 7 p.m. Texas time. We'll be doing that one live. And that's all I got for books, guys. There are not very many TV things to talk about. I haven't really done much because we've just been playing games. We've been gaming a lot. We got John Wick 4 video on demand, but my oldest is actually staying with grandma for the holiday weekend, and so we're going to watch that one when he gets back. Wheel of Time Season 2 announced that it's coming out September the 1st. I couldn't be less interested, but you know what, guys? If you are interested, I'd never want to be a wet blanket. If you enjoyed the first season and you're excited for Season 2, awesome. But me and Madison are not going to be continuing with As the Wheel Turns for Season 2 of the show, just because we were tired of everybody. I mean, look, I just talked about I like that this channel's positive. It's a positive community, and the comment sections were just vicious. People were just being so awful to one another. They were being awful to us. Felt like people were attacking Madison, telling her that she interrupted me too much and stuff. And I'm just like, that's one of my best friends, guys. This is not cool. So it just brought out the worst in a lot of people. So we're not going to be continuing with that. And I don't think that, unless we hear that Season 2 of Wheel of Time really just turns shit around, I don't think either one of us really plan to watch it. Before I go, guys, there is one gaming talk thing. I said we've been doing a lot of gaming lately. Trying to finish up a lot of these smaller games that I never finished on PS4 that I've kind of done the free upgrade on PS5. I'm almost done with God of War Ragnarok, so I'm trying to finish that up. I started playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's when I was like, no, I gotta finish these other ones first, because I'm about halfway through Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I'm about halfway through Ghost of Tsushima. So I want to finish those, because I got Diablo 4 and Final Fantasy 16 coming out in like a month. Actually, Diablo's in like a week and a half. So it kind of brings me to talk about the PS5 showcase and why I'm okay with the show being kind of lackluster. Now, guys, this is one of those things where I said I've been calling this a wasted generation on consoles for a while now. I just felt like everything everyone talks about is either available on the generation before, or is just a remake, or a remaster, or a collection. You watch this show and everybody's excited about the Metal Gear Solid collection. Oh boy, let's go ahead and stroke these developers some more for re-releasing and getting paid again for games that already came out. Look, I love the greatest hits as well as everyone else. I want people to make new games. I want people to make new games. Like, there's a friend of mine texted me, he's like, man, this Knights of the Old Republic remake's never going to come out. I don't care, man. Would I like it? Sure. But I want some great new games. Make something new. And this showcase was really, really not exciting. I really feel like they should have done a state of play and just showed Spider-Man. I think that would have been much better. It would have been much better publicity for them. Because, I mean, even people that are diehard, they live and breathe Sony PlayStation, and they will fight you to the death about it. Even they've been kind of like, that was a huge letdown. I think Spider-Man 2 looks really cool. It really does. With Final Fantasy 16, guys, like, I feel like they're already starting to show too much. I feel like they're showing too much of the story, so I've stopped watching all stuff on that. But yeah, outside of that, I was like, I can't think of anything else. Maybe Alan Wake 2, but again, that's not a PS5 exclusive. I'll probably play that on Steam, honestly. So I don't know. Actually, it's not coming on Steam. I forget what it's coming on. Whatever. I'll be playing it on my PC. So I don't know. It seemed like a real... And the thing was, like, they had the opportunity to really put their foot on the throat of the competition here, and I felt like they kind of missed it. Now, I'll just put, for example, guys, and here's the thing, is I get in trouble for this all the time. I just bought a PS5, guys. Okay? I just bought a PS5. But here's what I'm going to say. I think if Xbox had this exact same show, people would be dragging it. People would be dragging it so hard and saying they just need to close up shop. But it's PS5, and I hear people making excuses for it. But most people are like, yeah, it's pretty much a letdown. Or they're just bragging, well, you got Spider-Man 2. Look, Xbox has got Starfield, and I think Starfield's still got a great chance to be a really, really awesome game. So, I don't know. The whole console wars thing, that I never understand it. Yes, I bought a PS5. I did not buy the new Xbox because of crossplay. I don't need to. I've got a gaming computer. I don't need to buy the new Xbox. But, we've been playing Zelda. After I'm done with this, I'm going to go play more Tears of the Kingdom, guys. So, I'm not a brand loyalist on any of these things. But I would just say, as far as, from a business standpoint, looking back at this, I'm like, you made a real big deal about this first showcase in 2 years. It's going to be exciting. I thought there was going to be some huge shit in here, and it was a big letdown, I thought. I was not very much, but I just mentioned all these games I've still got to play, and these 2 new games that are coming out that are going to be very time-consuming, and I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay with Spider-Man 2 being the only other game on PlayStation 5 that I want to buy this year, outside of Final Fantasy 16 and Diablo 5 or Diablo 4. So, maybe it's a silver lining there for me. But guys, that was my week. What did you think of the PS5 showcase? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you playing? What are you watching? All of that stuff. You're going to be watching the Succession finale tomorrow? I know that I will be. So guys, drop in the comments and let me know what you are up to for the holiday weekend, and be safe.